Recording in progress.
It really hurts. Can I be honest?
They not own watches out here.
I think that, yeah.
Good turn up yesterday, it has spoiled.
Are you going to do that housekeeping for getting to the social fund? You're on board too.
Would he like to? I don't mind either way.
What would you guys do yesterday?
Because he came and said he wanted to do it. So
Okay.
it's his preference. If he doesn't want to do it, I'll be happy to do it. But I'm just double checking with you exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, so
Right now.
he's at the meeting.
Let's see. So my husband announcement for this one is thank you to Otter for putting the social. Keep your name tags on, that's how I get in. It's a charming squire.
Yeah.
He put the app, but it is just.
So basically head back towards the Sky's here, sorry, head back to the
Heading towards, yeah.
instead of going up the stairs, go down the escalator all the way to the ground floor.
Roll down, shoe down.
Yep.
Yep.
And then head out onto the street and turn left.
Down.
Turn left. Just past the traffic lights. It's called the Charming Square. And we have a function room upstairs.
But there'll be, once we get there, they will know what's good. They have this and then they'll know.
Yeah,
on
it's a
upstairs.
build, any part where it's selling it upstairs. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's only one upstairs and there is lift access.
I'm sitting
Yeah,
down now.
there'll be a sign. We'll see them put up on the event.
My child under the
And I'll see us. Actually. So, cool. I'll let Jordan know the same thing, but at least. Easy. Let's go. All good.
I have no intention. You try and get it, you may find it difficult.
Real. I'm real. Yeah, I think so. Yep.
No, just. Hello, everyone. Hi, so welcome to Town Hall Session 2 today. I am Yan Chin. I'm from ICANN, but today I'm serving as the co-chair of the drafting committee here together with Secretary Jan is here with me, and then Lokendra as my co-chair of the drafting committee is online with us as well. So for those who didn't manage to join us yesterday, or if you're new to town hall session, I'm just going to do a very quick overview on what this town hall session is. This session is basically for anyone to come up to share some of the key highlights or comments that you have from what you've heard from today's session or even yesterday's session. Maybe after one night, you have some inspiration on more things to share in comments. So please do later, we'll go through each of the subtrack. You can come up and share comments and key highlights. And then all of this will be captured into a document called the synthesis document. So the synthesis document is shepherded by the drafting committee. And the synthesis document is actually currently open for public comment. And we'll share a little bit on how you can input the comments into a platform later. And then also, if you want to be a little bit more involved in drafting the synthesis document, you could still join us in the drafting committee. It's still open for membership. Just write to secretariat at secsec@APrIGF.asia. So what happens to this synthesis document? It will be published eventually, and it'll be used for further discussions at global arenas and other discussions with the other regions IGF as well. So I'm going to pass the time to Jen, who will share a little bit on the commenting platform, just to show you how to comment in case you missed it yesterday.
It is on, right? No, I'm connected. Oh, perfect. So hopefully you've already seen this. And if you haven't, please go there right now. It's comment.aprigf.asia. Last I checked, right before I got up from the panel, we have 51 comments. So let's push it a little more. I think we can do this. We have usually over 100 comments for the first public comment period. I think we've had a really full day of discussions yesterday and today. So how you go and put in your comments, you can see obviously each paragraph has a little speech bubble next to it. If you click on it, it will bring you to how you leave the comments. You input your name, which is shown, your email, which is required but not shown, and then you can put in whatever comment you would like. One more thing I wanted to show you is that each track has a little bit of an introduction here, and then every single workshop proposal or session at APrIGF has its own paragraph at this point. What this means for you is if you are at these sessions and you do think that there are very important items that must be in this document, please go ahead and click on the speech bubble and input your comments. Back to you, Hinchin.
Thank you, Jen. So yeah, we do suggest that you keep this tab open throughout the today now, and then also for tomorrow's session, because if you hear something that you think it's a key highlight that you want to include quickly as a comment, then it's easily accessible as well. So without further ado, we will start our session now. Just a little bit of logistic alignment. So we will try and make sure that we rotate across the on-site comments and the virtual comments. So I'll pass it on to Lokendra accordingly to handle the virtual ones when we have hands up. We do encourage people online to feel free to please join us as well to share your comments. And today we will be doing the track sustainability first. And then after that, we'll open up for all issues, which means you can share comments for all three tracks. So it's access and inclusion, trust and sustainability. So that's the second part. But for now, we'll start with sustainability. So on the slide here, you will see some guiding questions. You could think a little bit on these questions or even any other thing that you feel like you want to share on sustainability. So with that, I'll open the floor to comments. So again, on sustainability, it can mean a lot of things. So it could mean things like how can we ensure that the emerging technologies contribute to our efforts in creating a sustainable internet? Or it could mean, financial sustainability in retaining any of the emerging technologies or even existing technologies. It could also mean infrastructure sustainability. I'm just trying to put out some aspects here so that you can,
And just to jog your memory, even just today, we had quite a few sessions on sustainability. We had a really interesting one called Mines, Maps, and Minerals, Trace the Complex Material of Your Smartphone, talking about that kind of sustainability. There's been several really interesting use sessions today. So the sustainability of our actual community is something that you can also come up and say something about. I'm sure a lot of the youth delegates have a lot to input and help with. I know there was also a session that just ended right before the tea break from the fellows. So I'm sure they also have quite a lot to say. So hopefully these ideas will, get you thinking about.
Everyone is looking at us. What are you talking about? Yeah, do you want to start? Yes, go ahead, please.
I am going to answer the second question on how we can promote sustainable development in deployment and the use of internet and emerging technologies. So this was my takeaway from the session on the mineral session that you just pointed out. So one thing that I understood was that I didn't really understand where the phone comes from or where any of our technological devices come from. It's just like you close your eyes, you open your eyes, there's a store, and then you go and get it. So most of the times our lack of sustainable approach towards any form of technology comes from a lack of understanding of where that technology is coming from, where the minerals and resources for that technology are being sourced from. And it makes it a very conscious decision once you know where they're coming from. And I think it makes it a very sustainable choice as well. Like you try to make sustainable choices once you understand that there are sustainable options available for you out there. So that was one of my takeaways, that understanding and awareness about sustainable technologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so that is one aspect as well that I didn't mention earlier. It's the impact on environment and climate as well. And anyone else with comments on sustainability track? So I did mention yesterday as well, please go ahead. Yep. You have running mic as well. Yep.
We had a session today on this digital environmental sustainability through circular economy and design principles. So the key, I think the key highlights of the discussions we had was on that, digital environmental sustainability could be pushed through adoption and promotion of digital circular economy approaches. And it has key elements in terms of sustainable management of e-waste. It involves sustainable management of e-waste. Then also it involves the raw material needs, increasing raw material needs, because the digital society needs are increasing manifold. Geometrically, it's increasing every year, every now and then. And I think the need is going to manifold increase. So where do you get the raw metals from? So digital circular economy can help through urban mining processes. And there is an emerging phenomena that needs to be looked into. And also whether digital circular economy approach could also deal with larger digital divide needs, which is many societies, especially Global South, has its own digital divide needs requirements. So, but everything cannot be dependent on the extraction of minerals and new products all the time. But how to reuse, recycle, reuse, repair, all those processes which are essential part of a digital circular process. So those things are very, very important to a sustainability. Meeting these digital needs sustainably, that's very, very critical. And also one aspect is that I noted down is in terms of, while we want to push a digital circular approach, it is a largely also a societal change, is a transformation in the society where digital consumer behavior can it be addressed, because there's a larger consumer can pave the way, can lead to transformations, consumer behavior in terms of reusing my things, my stuff and all. And that cannot be a one-way approach, a one-shot approach, but it has to be at all levels. at institutional level, educational institution level, household level, family level. Because it's a cultural change and it cannot happen in only one aspect or at one point of time. It has to be at multiple layers, multiple levels of that transformation has to come through. And that will eventually push even the government can push also the government and the industry manufacturers to be more sensitive about the consumer choice and behavior that is coming, which is more sustainable consumer choice and behavior. I think that is one aspect. And then also in terms of decision making is by the government. Yeah, almost all decision making of procurement, buying, purchasing, policies, regulations, the markets and all, export, imports, everything. So in all these processes, even in circular design policy processes, the government has to take the lead in terms of what will be brought from outside, what kind of products has to be imported, what kind of digital products or manufacturing products has to be imported, and also what kind of products will be used even in the government system, because government is the biggest user of digital products, digital networks, servers, digital infrastructures, and all. Government is paving the way. And you talk about digital transformation, and I think government is taking the lead everywhere because it involves massive infrastructure investment, money investment and all. And certainly the industry is also involved in the process, the suppliers and all. So if the government, if it really wants that we need to have a digital circular approach, because digital is the next big thing and the whole world is dependent on digital transformations in every aspect of our life. So certainly government can brought in that principle right from the very beginning so that we don't have to invest more resources in taking care of the problems rather than be taking preventive measures in advance only, so that our resources could be saved. When the problem is there, I think you need to take precautions in advance while in the initial stages. So those kind of bigger policy decisions the government can certainly take, and industry and the community, everyone will be following that pursuit, because industry's revenue consideration, market consideration will never go away. That will always remain be there. But even in the circular economy process, there is a market, there is a newer kind of market, refurbished markets, repair market and all. There's alternative markets can happen, which are sustainable markets, sustainable products can come in. So certainly the revenue may come down a little bit, but certainly the market is still be there. So I think only the cycle can increase of reusing, recycling, which can have a positive impact on the environment, because ultimately we are all dependent on the environment. If environment cannot is supporting us till now. And I think the next 50 years, we need to see how much the environment can support us. So if these human interventions, policy interventions by the human beings, by the human government, and I think the environment will be taken much care of. And this circular process is very, very relevant for all of us. And having said that, and the last point is that the youth, because I think they are the digital generations now, and the young generations born in this digital age, I think they are the most rapid users, efficient users, or fast users. The change has to come from them. So how the youth, young generation, I think the young population has to be part of this whole circular process, because in the last month, I think in India, there was certain thing around, it's called social entrepreneurship in the circular economy spaces. There's emerging circular sustainable entrepreneurship coming up. Social entrepreneurship is happening in the circular economy process, circular, digital spaces. So I think the youth population has to take the lead in terms of, understanding this whole phenomena of circular economy, the impacts, the positives, the negatives, and also the business sense of it. How can they also serve an emerging digital circular market in terms of products, services, and whatnot? I think this is something that we have to take it forward. And lastly is that this whole circular economy discussions also is still emerging at international level or even national level. They are missing in the national level. Local level, nobody talks. National level, maybe some talks are happening, discussions happening, and international level, something's happening. But I think we need to all push at our own levels, at local level, education institution level, or what is circular economy is important in our life. And the circular economy could be in any sector, automobile, fashion, textile, and so on and so forth. But of course, in the digital space is very, very important, because this is largely driving the whole society for all of us. Thank you with those thoughts.
Thank you. Yeah, you do have a few key points then. We do encourage you to include that as comments in the synthesis document as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention earlier for logistic purposes, could you state your name for the record, please? And for comments upcoming, I'll need to kindly ask that you all state your name for record. So could I? Yeah. Sorry about that.
So I'm representing a Digital Empowerment Foundation, and it's a pan-India, South Asia. We work in the last 22 years. We have been working in the space. And our interventions in the circular economy is the last 3-4 years we've been working.
All right.
And my name is Syed Kazi.
Thank you.
SYEDKAZI.
All right. Thank
It's a
you.
long name, but I've shortened it in 2 words. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. For now, we'll rotate to online first. I note you have a comment there, but we'll rotate to online and then I'll come back to on-site comments. So, Lakendra.
Thanks, Inchin. We do have comments online. Ming, would you like to go first?
Yes, sure. Thank you. I would like to share about what we discussed in APrIGF and meeting with industry expert. So that in a discussion with industry expert, so what we discussed is about AI, from usage of AI from assignment to the job in industry. So there are many different opinions between each other. So some people think that using AI as writing assignment for generating ideas, I think actually ethical. Do we really need to think by ourselves? So that kind of stuff. And also using AI in the industry can cause losing the job opportunities for the people. Some people do not think that using AI cannot affect that. Cannot affect like losing the job opportunity for youths. But some people do think that using AI can be used in the Yeah, it can be used in repetitive jobs, like boring jobs and repetitive, and do not need like advanced decision-making skills and critical thinking skills. But there are many people who don't know how to, really weak in critical thinking skill and know only how to do repetitive works. So in this situation, because of it may be because of poverty or lack of access to quality education. In this situation, it can really affect the youth job opportunity, career opportunities. So because in the discussions, all of us are talented and have privilege to get access to the technology and also language. So because for example, using ChatGPT, ChatGPT cannot speak all the languages. They can speak like English and maybe some other languages. But for those people who cannot speak English well and doesn't have language access, so if for those people, the gaps between the having enough skills and enough technological skills, or without not having enough technological skills, could be really huge. So we discuss about the usage of AI. So people have different points of view, and it can cause losing the opportunities for youth, but it cannot cause losing the opportunity for youths. So that we discuss. I also like to talk about what we are discussing right now. So emerging technology and sustainability. I will go muted. Hi, I can hear me. I just got muted.
We can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, for sustainability, I think that emerging technology is really good. Can be a good tool for getting the accessibility, because in the past few years in my country, not many people cannot use phone. If you have phone, it's like you are a very rich person. But now many people can get access to, more people, but not all people can access to technology and phone and stuff. That's really good. And also for sustainability point of view, for example, 5G can be really processor are really energy efficient, and also can be sustainable than the 4G, and also using the renewable energy in data center to cool down So that would be a really emerging technology can be used, can be a good tool to be a sustainable, to create a sustainable internet for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ming, for that note. We also have a comment in chat by Mohammed from ISOC Youth SG. So the comment is a very interesting one and talks about how sustainability should be enforced upon the organizations making electronic stuff. By putting onus on the end users, we are doing away with making tech firms accountable. So what Mohammed is essentially trying to say is to shift the onus from the users back to the organizations. And back to you, Yanjin.
Thank you, Lakendra. So we do have 3 in the queue now. So please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Alia for the record, and I'm from Malaysia. So I would like to talk about sustainability in the sense that it is to fulfill the needs of the current generation while also taking into consideration of not compromising the needs of the future generation. And I would like to speak on particularly AI, because we just had a session with the industry experts. And during the session, there was a debate going on whether AI will replace us, take our jobs. And though my personal stance is that I am not worried that AI will replace us, because I feel like at the end of the day, human judgment is still needed. And it is a question of how can technology that is created by us outsmart us. But I fail to realize that this also concerns the people out there, people that are not, I'm not talking just us here, but like generally the people out there. And a point was made that AI affects people with low skilled jobs, because now we see that in shops, we don't need sales assistants. And then for buses, we also don't need any bus drivers. And so for us, we don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about it because I have the knowledge, and I can even actually I have the knowledge to use AI and even capitalize on it. But these people that rely on the jobs of being sales assistants and also bus drivers, they may not have the privilege to, use AI. So I think that is a question of sustainability as well. And I just wanted to bring that up because I think that was a great point that we made during the session just now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, yesterday I was in a session and I heard about a speaker said that, we want to be users of the technology and not products of the technology. So that's something that I felt was important as well. Right, next comment.
Right. My name is Luke, Chair of the Asia Pacific Youth Internet Governance Forum. And I'd just like to add on to some of the key takeaways that we had in our meetup with industry experts session. And a nice term that I heard from Pablo from APrIGF was the art of prompting. So I think the youth are a bit concerned in this area because we do use AI, especially ChatGPT, to complete our homework. It's no secret, and I think it's not going to go away anytime soon. And many youth are afraid of this dependency. And will it become an addiction to use AI to think of their ideas? And will they lose their ability to create new, fresh ideas, especially ideas that can help and aid in the betterment of the internet? So to address this issue, there needs to be capacity building to ensure that the youth are ready for AI, or in other words, AI readiness is needed in universities, and we can implement them into universities by carrying out surveys or research into AI readiness in different fields. In, let's say, AI readiness in medical students or language students or computer science students even. Are they open to using AI to help them do their homework or research, or are they not open? Or do they think it will help them or not? And if we get the answers for this, we can better create policies, capacity building sessions, and implement them to make sure the youth of the Asia Pacific are ready to build an internet for them, which will help them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll pass it on to the remote participants first, and then I'll come back to the comment here. All right, Lakendra, over to you.
Thank you, Anjan. We do have comments here. Aviral, would you like to take the mic?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Aviram. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think sustainability is really important in this day and age, and I think people are much more creative and innovative when they are young. So I really think the involvement of youths in making innovative solution, leveraging emerging technologies like AI is crucial, and the government should support them. So like in India, there is Smart India Hackathon to create sustainable innovation in health sector and education and agriculture. And there is also a solution challenge that is run annually by Google, focusing on youths developing solutions for achieving UN Sustainability Development Goals. So I think there should be more programs and initiatives by governments and organizations to help youth make innovative solutions to solve real life problems.
Thank you so much, Aviral. We also have a comment by Fio in the chat, which reads, people need to improve their skills and need more development in education. Technologies and AI cannot learn, love, care, or have empathy and sympathy. So people need to behave humanely more to win from AI and not to be replaced by AI. Such as nurses cannot be replaced by AI. So thank you for that comment. Back to Yunchin.
Thank you, Lakendra. And please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Yunchin and Jen. Lakendra as well. I actually want to turn this mic a little bit because I feel like this is a conversation and I'm talking to the community members, so it's not just facing our moderators there. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Feng. I am the program coordinator of the Asia Pacific Youth Internet Governance Forum. This youth initiative has been going around in our community for more than 10 years. It's actually been recognized by the United Nations Internet Governance Forum since 2010. So it was before the time I started engaging this community, and thanks to this community for creating such important program for our next generation, because I would like to bring this to, I mean, we hear a lot from the youth just now, and it inspired me to think about the sustainability of our community, because in order to make our community running and keep going on, we must nurture our next generation. And since we started so long ago and being one of the first youth IGF happening in this world, I think we, of course, need to change the format or improve it and see how we can, you know, maximize the program and to bring more people in, and so we can sustain it. This year, I see a lot of APrIGF fellows taking their, you know, spare time to actually drop by the program and try to make conversation. And that's really good thing to see that our next generations doing this kind of thing. And with a lot of very open-minded seniors, oh, sorry, that's not the word. I mean, more experienced people in the world. Well, I tried to, because, well, that's the thing. We all sometimes subscribe to, you know, we were educated in a way. Sometimes we will mistakenly or unintendedly use some biased term. And I consciously remind myself to use more inclusive words these days, especially dealing with Gen Z. I'm part of them, by the way. So I think, you know, we should proactively work together because we are one community. I am confident that the youth community in Asia Pacific is proactively working and trying to close the gap and join the conversation and make solid substance. And by the way, I lead that. So of course I care about how we deliver the things and how to get them ready. But what I observe is that whether like whichever generation you are from, we should always make conversation and try to learn from each other. Because one day, I think the new Gen Z borns after 2000 will probably think that my idea is not for them. Because to them, I am from another generation, perhaps. And we need to keep talking to them and know what is missing. So we need to keep this conversation going on. And back to the Secretariat and the MSG member as well, I think we should have a more formal way to make sure that we have this kind of conversation going on, make sure all the generations are informed, whether they subscribe or agree or not, disagree for sure. I think we should have this conversation. And one last question to the audience. I wonder how many MSG members are in the room right now. MSG member. Yeah, great. Look, so I want to urge everyone in this community who care about the future of our community and our next generation to actively participate in the MSG, because we need more people. And so we have a better representation of all communities. Thank you.
Thank you. I was gonna have a relief sigh because I'm here, so I'm not MSG, so I'm here. All right. I'll move to the virtual participant and I'll come back to you. So Lakendra, over to you.
Engine, we do not have any comment yet. If we have someone from in physically, we can continue them.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Lakendra. All right, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I would like to say that it's a reality that digital sustainability is a pillar for actualizing digital rights and internet governance. That's why trust, inclusion, sustainable, everything is related to one another. But another important thing I consider is promoting a digital culture, cyber culture, we can say. In this case, I would say the reality of developed countries and in developing countries is totally different. In light of developing countries, including Bangladesh and many nearby countries, the records of cyber crimes, communal violence, gender-based violence, or exploitation of children is really frustrating. So mass awareness is very much important. Another important thing is manipulation of digital platforms by government. In Bangladesh, I would like to say there is a law named Digital Security Act. According to a statement of Acting Law Minister of Bangladesh, since 2018, more than 7,000 cases has been filed in this law. So you cannot imagine how many people have been repressed or tortured or detained or even murdered by government agencies. So this is really very much awful. Another thing I would like to share that last year we came to know that government of Bangladesh, government of India have purchased technologies only to surveillance on political opponents. So we have to speak against these things only to promote a good cyber culture, and values, some values, cultural values should be promoted, like respect for opposing point of view, respect for diversity and pluralism, etc. is very much important. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment, and we'll take the next comment here.
I'm
yep.
Ishak from Bangladesh.
Thank
I'm
you.
a fellow of APrIGF 2023.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Visit from Cambodia. I have some idea about promoting sustainable development. I think in order to promote sustainable development, the maximum amount of people should get employment. However, it seems to me that some government and some private company, those who has money and power, they seems to use their money to create AI in order to replace the employment of ordinary people. So I would like to ask, or I would like to beg those people who has money, who has the power, and who has the skill to create AI, to define the definition and function of AI again, whether it is created to assist the professional career, assist the like professional people, or it is created to replace the job of ordinary people, because those people are already struggling with their life. So what have they done wrong? Why we need to create something to replace their job, to put the pressure on them? Yeah, I think this is all. Thank you.
Thank you. And please go ahead.
Thank you. I want to deal with the third question. How can we ensure that we contribute to a more equitable future for all? And one thing that occurred to me was when we did the survey of how many MAG members are in the room, something that occurred to me was the importance that we place on the shoulders of the MAG members, and the responsibility and the work that they do tirelessly for APrIGF continuously, the MAG members as well as the Secretariat. I wondered, when we see something working out well and working so well for APrIGF community, why not replicate it and try to model something similar for the youth community and the youth groups as well? So something that comes to mind is something along the lines of to create a more equitable situation or a more equitable future with respect to youth communities would be something similar to a MAG membership for the youth community members, especially who are alumni of such events, because coming as fellows and then going away and either detaching from the community or not continuing to contribute because you don't have the resources or the time or anything, energy, anything, or the personal space, any of that sort. So maybe as advisors, as MAG members or something similar to that for the youth community, you can always be there and say, hey, listen, I cannot contribute 100 hours as I did the previous year, but I can contribute a week or two of my time and try to advise you with a couple of sessions on how the structure can be or something like that. That can be very valuable. So it would be, it would lead to a more equitable solution for the youth community as well, for the upcoming generations, for the sessions of the youth communities and the ones where we are included, to have something similar to MAG. And if MAG members could be advisors of that and help set it up in the first instance, there could be nothing better than that. And there could be the best instance that we hope for. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll be happy to see you lead that youth group and we'll provide the support as needed. So we do encourage that. All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sebastian, a law student from the sunny island of Singapore and also a fellow from APrIGF. I'd like to add on a critical thinking perspective on trust and also on sustainability, which have not been touched on much yet. Sustainability as in a critical thinking force that bridge the digital divide so that the usage of AI and emerging technology is sustainable. An example from Singapore I can share with you. A litigant in person, basically a layman terms, means that someone that does not have a lawyer to represent them. So this litigant in person in Singapore use AI to do legal research for her. Unfortunately for her, and a terrible day for her in court, the opposing lawyer found that the AI used fake cases to support her argument. So that's not a sustainable example of AI usage. My point is not just about trust or accountability, which have been spoken much. Of course, there are threats and opportunities of AI and emerging technology. My point is on the importance of having a sustainable, critical thinking force in our society. How can we strengthen our digital literacy skills and also strengthen critical thinking skills so we can leverage on AI and also know that we cannot fully use AI for everything. Context matters, culture matters, ethics matters, sustainability, of course, matters. We have to do our own homework and have a critical thinking mindset, besides purely relying on AI and internet technology, so that we can have a critical thinking force that knows when to trust and a critical thinking force that know how to be accountable. And finally, a sustainable critical thinking force. A critical thinking mindset matters. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So you did a good segue for me because we do want to open up for all issues now because your comment mentioned about basically touch upon the different tracks. So we're going to open now to all issues, which means you could touch on any track that you would like to or any other input that you think it's key to highlight here. And I believe we already have one comment or question online, so I'll pass it on to Lakendra first and then we'll come back to on-site or any comments. Lakendra, please.
Thank you, Jen. So we do have a very detailed comment from Jean. One part of that comment is on, it's a journal comment on APrIGF, and I'll read it aloud. I feel compelled to reiterate that remote participation needs to be very much improved moving forward. Reconsidering Zoom should be on the agenda due to its extreme unfriendliness. User journey was always terrible, and it's not resilient at all with small network glitches or multitasking on mobile. And then the other part of the comment is about the previous session that happened on international domain names. It's a series of 3 questions, and so I'll read them out. First is, why is the term international only applied to any script except Latin? Isn't Latin international? Second question is, as per supply and demand, where is the evidence that people don't use/implement IDNs because they don't know they can? And third is the position towards Latin characters also the same as with Arabic numerals? So regarding these questions, I'll really request Edmund, if Edmund's there in the audience, to sort of take it up. Thank you. Back to you, Yunjin.
Thank you. Yes, we'll invite Edmund, who's an expert on this. Please, Edmund.
Thank you. Edmund here. Happy to quickly respond, but I missed the third one. So let me answer the first 2 and then repeat the third one. Internationalized domain names was called internationalized domain names because it is an internationalization versus a localization thing. So it's the name. You can call it multilingual domain names. You can call it multilingual internet. But when it was developed, the concept was to make sure back then in 20 years ago, the world wasn't already using completely what is called Unicode, and there are many multiple encoding systems for different languages. And therefore, instead of localization, which is to make the domain name system work with the many different encodings, but actually to move to Unicode, it was called internationalized. Sorry for this long response, but that was the background for it. The second question was, in relation to Latin or why I would say that because people don't know, there wasn't a demand. So there was actually a survey that was done by the at-large in the ICANN community. The at-large survey that was done, I think in Asia Pacific, revealed basically that, for those who first realized that there is actually a possibility of using their own native language domain names and email addresses, they actually have a very high percentage of interest in actually getting and using them. So the data comes from there. What was the third question?
Thanks, Edmund. The third question is the position towards Latin characters also the same as with Arabic numerals?
So you're saying that whether, Arabic numerals became and kind of universal and Latin characters can become universal as well. I guess that is a question of worldview. There's a worldview that, we could all just use English and, we will live happily ever after. There's another worldview that we believe in diversity and the preservation of the different cultures, heritage, and language. So, I think it's an never-ending battle in some sense, but I think currently, at least personally, I believe at least the capabilities need to be there. That battle, that debate can continue, but the capabilities for actually having the different languages should be there, and therefore internationalized domain names, and therefore universal acceptance.
Thank you so much, Edmund. We do have one more comment online from Paribhasha, which reads, sustainable solutions address both the short-term sustainability of digital inclusion initiatives as well as the long-term sustainability of inequities. This entails looking forward to potential problems, adjusting to emerging technology, and developing a continuous improvement attitude. By incorporating sustainability principles, we hope to change the digital divide from a problem that will not go away into a legacy of empowerment where everyone will have access to the internet forever. Thank you so much, Parivasha, for that input. Back to you, Yinchin.
Thank you, Lakendra. Yep, and please go ahead with your comment.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Dalili and I'm from Malaysia. As you can see, I'm very nervous right now, but I do have an issue to address, and I am going to read through my notes because I don't want to get my message mixed up so everybody can understand me. So as one of the next generation, I believe that the next generation are still very lacking a lot actually in digital literacy. So me, myself included, as in one of the YIDF sessions today, well, we actually, discovered that one term can mean various things to another. Like a person can say that digital literacy just means how you use the information, but another can say how you access the information. So it's very, it comes from various definitions. So we still have so much to learn, the next generation. And this is why we need proactive collaborations with all stakeholders to actually get the word across. So what needs to be done for them, us, and me is to have, in order for us to have a safe and secure internet is by having digital literacy and education, because it is a very vital issue, and there needs to be a comprehensive digital literacy in order to educate the young people about online privacy, security, the best practices and responsible of digital citizenship. So these also includes on teaching us about the risk of emerging technologies. And I am so grateful for the youth having a seat and opportunity to actually be part of the internet governance. And we are so appreciative of the fact that we can get our voices heard too in these type of forums. So to conclude, from today's session, I believe that the APEC region, especially for the youth, and we are still very lacking in digital literacy, and hence in order to move forward, we have to put outstanding efforts to get bigger number of the next generation involved. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you. And we do want to say thank you to all the youths as well, because you all have stepped up quite a bit to share your voices as well. So we're happy to hear your voices as well. And we'll move on to the next comment. Yep.
Hello, everyone. I am Sok Lai, an AI researcher from Cambodia. I'm also an APrIGF fellow. So I would like to touch on the question which is under the theme access and inclusion. The question is, do emerging technologies address the pre-existing digital divide or widen it further? In order to answer this, I would like to raise a real case happening in Cambodia. I think everyone can get access to ChatGPT in your region. Unfortunately, it's not accessible in Cambodia, which leads to a digital divide. And I would say it can affect into two layers. First of all, it's about the regional and global layer. So you can see some regions can get access to ChatGPT, and some regions or some countries cannot get access to ChatGPT, and it leads to the barrier of accessibility. And if you take a look at the national layer, so those who are aware of this kind of technology, they tend to strive to make use of those technology. They will learn how to use VPN. So based on our practice, as an AI researcher, in order to make use of ChatGPT, I need to use VPN. Also, I need to use international SIM card in order to do a verification for the first time. This is a case for me, and I will find it easier because I've got a technical background. And how about those who do not even know technology, and they have no clue of how to use VPN, and they do not even know how to use international SIM card in order to do verification. And I think this can lead into the digital divide in the national layer. And it also reflects to the social status division. So I think for ChatGPT, it comes with two versions. The first one is free of charge, but it comes with the less accurate information. And the other one is the full option, which means I need to pay $20 every month. As an AI researcher and my organization can support our team to pay every month. And how about those who can get access to ChatGPT, but they do not have enough money and they cannot get access to the full option, which I can have the privilege to make use of those technology. And that is all from my side. Thanks.
Thank you. I do want to move on to the virtual participant and I will come back for the comment on site here. All right, Lakendra, please go ahead.
Thanks, Inchin. We do have one online comment by Jordan. That is a response to Jean. I'll just read it aloud. Jordan says that he wants to note and respond to the frustration regarding the event app. As organizers and local hosts, we are also not happy with how it has performed. While you can join through the links in the daily email, we wanted to deliver a successful app experience and it isn't up to scratch. Apologies for this. So that's from Jordan. Thanks, Jordan, for responding to it. And then we do have a hand raised from Arman. Arman, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Lokendra. So just for the record, my name is Arman Chaudhary. And as we were talking about the topics of sustainable deployment and digital literacy with regards to internet governance, I think one of the important issues that we might want to touch upon is AI awareness. I'm not talking about the awareness of the AI systems, but the awareness of the local people with regards to the AI softwares. I think most of us, because we have a background knowledge, we have a basic knowledge about, the AI softwares or the AI ecosystem. But I think when we talk about the digital literacy, right, keeping that into context, I think we are we have to come out way ahead when it comes to AI awareness, because for example, in India, there was a movie called Robot. So it was a very famous movie that we have in our country. And I think that is one of the, channels through which AI has been introduced to people, right? There are some problems, there are some potential risks with regards to AI, but that is not the only context of AI, right? And I think for many of the developing countries, these are the channels through which local people learn about AI. So even if they have let's say we are successful to deliver or to enable them to be digitally literate, I think we have to take like thousands of steps in order to make them reach to understand what AI is. And I think if we have that unconscious fear in our minds, in the minds of masses, I think we won't be able to take a rational decision with regards to that topic. So I think it is very important that we also raise this issue of making people aware about what AI is, not only digital literacy and basics of digital world, but yes, whenever we are talking about these issues, I think AI awareness or awareness about AI is one of the topics we should, touch upon. So yeah.
Thank you, Arman. Back to Inchin.
Thank you. And we'll come back to our comment on site. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. This is actually just a public service announcement. In case there are any locals here who've got cars parked outside, there is a hail warning for Brisbane in the next 30 minutes to 60 minutes. So if you've got a car, get it under cover. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, very important. All right, please go ahead.
So my name is Charlotte, and I'm a third year uni student. So I'm hoping that the option to just ask the question is still available. Yeah. So a lot of the questions that I noticed, they have the word emerging technology, but they don't have the word AI specifically. But when I observe everyone's answers to these questions, we're all just directing the conversation towards AI. But I'm wondering whether the drafters actually have a purpose for choosing the word emergent technology and not just AI, because it seems from our conversations that those two have been interpreted as the equivalent. So the question that I want to pose to the board, because I'm personally curious myself, is what other emerging technologies can we talk about other than AI? Because as a law student, I'm not familiar with other emerging technologies other than AI, which is like a very hot topic at the moment. So that's what I wanted to direct the conversation to, if I'm allowed to. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I do agree with that point as well, because it is indeed difficult for non-technical people to understand other types of emerging technologies that are more like technical based. So I guess, like you said, because AI is very much popular and hot topic, that's why it's kind of diverted that way, but it's a good question. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer for you. But yeah, did you want to respond, Lakendra?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
go
much.
ahead.
I'll try to respond to that. So yes, that I agree. I mean, a lot of our discussions have been foreshadowed by AI because it is a hot topic. But when we were actually framing the program at the program committee and we had the discussions, at that time, other things were also brought up, which were part of emerging technologies. And I'll just give you examples. Blockchain is one. Then we also have quantum technologies, which affect the very idea of encryption and how safely information can travel. Then we also have 5G and other newer innovations happening in telecommunications. We also have robotics. We also have Internet of Things. Some of these are not particularly emerging because they have been there for some time now. But again, in terms of percolation to the masses or in far-flung areas, these technologies do remain emerging in some sense. So not just AI, but yeah, other things as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakendra. And do we have other comments here on site? So we have none for now. Lakendra, is there anything online?
We do have one response from Aviral on the app. Aviral, would you like to speak it yourself or would you like to read me for you? Okay, I'll read it for you. Thanks. Aviral says, as a developer, he's not happy with the event app. He's also interested in knowing who actually developed the app, or is it getting outsourced to some company like Eventia? Thank you, Aviral. Back to Inchin.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Deary me. Okay. Cheryl Langdon, for the record, and I wish I wasn't putting this on the record, but I am. Eventia is indeed outsourced. We outsource to Eventia. Let me assure you, we hear you. We empathise with you. We have made these observations ourselves. Let me also assure you that the likelihood of this particularly helpful app being used again is, depends if I'm alive or not, minimal. We can only apologise. I will take my complaints badge, note it. I won't make it an introduced formal complaint, but from the organising committee perspective, I will assure you all that we've already grumbled about it amongst ourselves, and it simply isn't good enough. And in all seriousness, the professional events organiser who has been working with us at extraordinarily long hours and additional efforts has every intention of having a very serious conversation with expectations for performance and actual performance. So, oh, are you going to follow me? Whoa, you're getting it all here today.
I think quite a few people here follow you one way or another, Cheryl. That was a positive comment on this occasion. My name is Jordan Carter. I'm from ADA. Yes, if I could burn up any more deeply with embarrassment about the app's performance, I would, but I can't. So the workaround, I just want to be clear about what the workaround is for this. So in the emails we've been sending you each morning, at least definitely this morning, and I think the day before, there are some links down the bottom that take you directly into the Zoom room for the stream that you're in. So the streams are 1, 2, 3, and the agenda for the event that's on the website is all labeled stream 1, stream 2, stream 3. So you can get into the Zoom room and participate by clicking on the link that applies to the stream. You know, the event, the app performance wasn't like this when we tested it. They are doing a rebuild and a restart that's going to happen tonight, but it takes the whole thing offline for half an hour, at least while you do it. So without wanting to dwell on it too much, I just want to say in person, face to face, my apologies for the performance of this delightful app. I'm sorry about the impact that it's having, especially for remote participants or people who are trying to join remote on their phones. If you ever tried clicking on a link to the Zoom in your phone, you'll know what I mean. So sorry about that.
Thank you. No, I do want to note for the co-host and the secretariat and the organizing committee's efforts in, you know, making this event happen as well. It is a difficult one because it's a regional one. So, but we do thank and appreciate the input and the feedback for improvement as well. We'll work on that for next year for sure. And yeah, maybe that encompasses all issues as we open it. So I saw some people walking towards the door a few minutes ago, but I do want to encourage the audience here to walk towards the mic instead of walking to the door, because we do still have about 15 more minutes and we really want to have your voices heard. So I do want to encourage people to come up for comments. Does anyone else, you know, want to raise your hand or come to the mic here? No? Jen?
Sure. Since I have the mic already in my hand. Oh, I do see. Oh, yeah, perfect. We
Dr.
have
Shabir?
Dr.
Yeah.
Shabir in the back.
We'll pass you the mic.
Can I have the mic? Do you want this mic?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for this. And okay, well, first I want to appreciate the organizers and Cheryl, those who have been taking the brunt of all the negative comments and apologizing again and again. So thank you. After thanking you, I would just want to add my voice to this nonsensical decision of adopting to this event app, because it was also inaccessible as well. As a screen reader user, it would not allow me to pass through the code stage. So anyone using this app would have been, I'm not sure that how people did that. I appreciate this thing, the support of the Secretariat, the support of the fellow participants, including Ashirwad, Wakas, those who have been assisting me in providing information to all of the sessions and stuff, etc. But it would have been much better and easier if this information was available through this app. For the synthesis document and for the next year to take the lesson that we take from this experience is that it would have been better if we have while selecting the app and the vendor for the events app, we had used one of their events in the app first before actually deciding that we would use this event app. So for the next year, APrIGF, we should take this lesson, and I also take the responsibility as part of MSG as well, as a member of MSG, that we should have been much vigilant onto taking of this decision. But at the same time, would want to remind that these decisions ought to be taken collectively. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your input. And we'll move on to Lokendra. Is there anything online?
We did have some chat around the app, and as well as there was a suggestion from Mohammed about an IETF-like solution, but nothing to report as of now. So back to you.
Thank you. And we do have, please proceed.
Sorry, it's me again, Jenna from Asia Pacific Youth IGF. I don't know how to categorize my comment, but just one point actually, because earlier this morning, well, I've been here for like 5 years, so I did not realize that's just this morning. But actually, most of the community in Asia Pacific, they speak, their first language is not English. Me, myself, my mother tongue is Cantonese and a dialect from indigenous community in Hong Kong. And yes, in Hong Kong, we do have that kind of group of people. So I pick up English when, growing up. That's not my first language. And this morning in one of the workshop, we have some speakers speaking it, from Japan and all that. Apparently we all, use English because that's the common language that we have. And so that inspired me and thought, maybe in the future, if possible, of course, that's, a matter about money. But if possible, maybe, when we rotate to, I don't know, India, Taiwan or Japan in the future, if possible, will it be possible to allocate some budget to actually allow participants to make comments or join the discussion in their native tongue? Because sometimes, things lost in translation. And honestly, if I get to deliver my message in Cantonese, it will be way more advanced. And so that's just one thing I really want to add and, bring it to everyone's attention and see maybe in the future when we explore that, maybe that's one thing we could consider. Thank you.
Surprise, Cheryl Langdon for the transcript record. And I'm saying that deliberately this time for the transcript record, because should we have had funds, we could have had transcripts in multiple languages. That is purely fund driven. And even having transcripts in multiple languages would aid enormously into what I know I recognise, because I've actually been working and I don't even speak English. I'm an Australian, right? You don't want to hear my language, trust me. But in all honesty, I've been pushing for multilingual internet for these very reasons. So it is incredibly important. Right now, the cheaper automatic stuff won't do us a favour by going that way. But part of the emerging technologies, and my hope for it, includes this getting better and better and better all the time, which it does. But we actually looked at local hosts explored, and it is the local host who would be having to get sponsors to fund these things, not APrIGF. It doesn't have a budget. Right? We put out and ask for sponsors and grants, and this tiny little bit comes in and gets fellows. So it's love to give you Rolls-Royce versions. Trust me, I'd love to be involved in a Rolls-Royce version. But as technology improves, maybe we should say something about that. Maybe some of these solutions will also come along. But in the case of, even if we could get specific diversity sponsors, hint, hint, for anyone wanting to run an APrIGF in the future, see if you can find someone who wants to specifically sponsor the diversity, especially the language diversity in your country, because it is that much time to change a contract for transcripting to include all sorts of language simultaneously, different streams to suit the marketplace. So I'll put back my fiduciary hat on and say it was all far too expensive. We couldn't afford it this time. But yes, should we? Absolutely. We just need to find the money tree.
Thank you, Cheryl. Actually, I'm going to put the Secretariat hat on now. It's definitely in the past, we've had very gracious, very generous hosts who have supplied some live translations into local languages. Coming to my mind, the Bangkok meeting. And I think the Taipei meeting previously also had, for certain sessions, they had this. Of course, I mean, I think the ideal solution, especially in a region as diverse as we are in the Asia Pacific with languages, of course, that would be the ideal solution. But until we get to that solution, I think we'll do every effort, both in terms of the Secretariat and the MSG and the wider community as well, to make sure this APrIGF event is as inclusive as possible. It is difficult, but we of course always want to improve. I think I'm going to hand it back to Yinchin, or is it Lakendra who has some comments online?
Let's pass to Lakendra because I think we received some comments that are related to this topic. Lakendra, please go ahead.
So thanks, Inchin, and thanks, Jennifer. And first, I agree with Cheryl that it is a funding issue at the end of the day. And we have some comment from Mohammed on, so he suggests that the Internet Engineering Task Force, they have all the resources related to any session along with links to web conferencing. For the record, they use Meeticho. So you get all the resources in the same place and it's very intuitive. So Mohammed is suggesting that we can look at what IETF does as far as organizing events is concerned. Then we did have some conversation in the chat going on about language and translation. Edmund added that in some previous APrIGS, we did have simultaneous interpretation, translation, when we were hosted at cities with many participants who spoke the local language. Mohammed adds that unless the translation is real time, I would prefer having a single language for the sessions. Translation latency and associated mental overhead could make the meeting inefficient and inorganic. That's all in online.
Thank you, Lakendra. So a lot of conversation about the event itself. I do want to bring it back a little bit to the 3 tracks to see if anyone else has any comments on access and inclusion, trust, or sustainability track. This final calls for comments. Yes, we have one hand at the end. Do we have runner from Mike's?
Hey, just thank you. I just wanted to make a comment because some of these conversations seem to also mirror different things in the rooms. Yesterday, we were talking about trust, and one of our youth forum attendees mentioned they would like to speak about accountability, and I really like that. It really got me thinking about the experience of youth, because I don't think, and please, I would love to make sure this is, I got it in the right context, that you weren't saying that we don't trust, we do trust everything. You're saying we don't kind of, there is no trust, put the accountability. And I was thinking, are these actually different sides of the same coin? Like, are they're interlinked? Accountability, we need some level of trust to understand what we're being accountable and who's being accountable and how we have oversight and accountability. And accountability builds trust. Just, I guess, on that, I also noticed this is my first in-person event, and thank you everyone for talking to me as I racked your brains. It's been amazing to have you here. But I do also see a frustration with some of the themes being the same year on year. And I think in terms of that, you know, I'm an Australian citizen, and I would wonder why we here in this country, you know, where is our government on this in bringing forward some of these things for our country and for the region? You know, that for me is civil society, academia, and the technical community have all put these points that they've put forward today. A lot of them haven't changed for a number of years. So talking trust and accountability, I feel that we have to start there. In that, there are many governments, including my own, in the with you know, that represent the people in this room, who have signed the UN Declaration of Human Rights, and also it was raised in the forum today about the Declaration of the Rights of Persons with a Disability. And so again, on trust and accountability, there is some level there about that being implemented. On the translation services, I think it's the Department of Australian Home Affairs do have the TIS National Translation Services, but an event like this doesn't qualify for that support. And with the level of harms that are happening from the internet and emerging technologies, I would like to see that changed. And I thought I should just say those things just as Cheryl said, for the record. And then lastly, I have read some of the things around the Global Digital Compact, some of the proposals and some of the thoughts on this, the various models. I'd like to do something more practical following this. I did read that outer roadmap and it was a very interesting read. I'm looking forward to talking about that but from the civil society perspective. And I just wanted to make that statement that the internet was made by and for, I guess, that technical community and for everybody, being individuals. And so it disheartens me how at risk we are with that imbalance and almost just taking of this public space. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And oh yeah, could you state your name for the record, please? Sorry. Yeah.
My name's Kiki, thanks.
Thank you. All right, so any last comments from anyone else here on site? And I believe there's nothing online as well. For me, I do have one last, is there any last comments? All right, yeah, sorry about that. All right, please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is following the previous comment. I thought I maybe say something about that. Early in 2021, two things happened, which for me, they had one thing in common. In Burma, there were unrest and internet, I believe, was shut down. And in Lismore in Australia, there was a flood. So what I noticed they had in common, people needed to communicate with each other for basic things, and they couldn't for different reasons. Since then, I've been paying more attention to distributed technologies when it comes to communication. There's valid reasons for that. And I haven't personally seen many attempts in looking at it. And of course, there is always risks, but there is necessities as well. So this is just I'm bringing up the topic. Maybe if we proactively talk about it in terms of the measures we need to put in and regulations and whatever that needs to be proactively, then we could have those infrastructure for distributed communication as well in place for when it goes wrong. Also, for access to digital economy and finances as well, I'm seeing that there's not, as far as my experience, there's not enough conversation about when it comes to cryptocurrencies. There's all sort of different types of conversations, but in terms of how it has enabled the unbanked communities, I also like to see more active conversations about that and see how we can learn from the positives and apply that. It doesn't have to be blockchain, it could be many other distributed technologies, but we need to look at those things actively and explore them. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. And could I get your name for the record, please, as well? Could I get your name?
Just concerned citizen.
All right, thank you. All right, and so this is the second and last town hall session for this APrIGF. I really want to thank you all for sharing your comments and input during these two town hall sessions. We won't have any town hall session tomorrow, but please do still have that platform open as you're attending sessions and workshops. Please do still, input your comments on the platform directly because those are very important. And I will pass on to Lakendra now to finish up with the next steps from here. Lakendra, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Anjan. Before I start with the next step, I just have a personal story to share. I was there in Singapore last year when the APrIGF happened. It was the first time I traveled to any internet governance event. I was 25 years old. I was part of the youth group, and I did attend the synthesis document, the town hall session, and did contribute to the synthesis document as a volunteer. And then what I found was that the organizers of APrIGF, the MSG, all the committees, they were very encouraging. The kind of nurturing and support I got personally from a lot of you, Anju, Ashirwad, Vakas, Pavitra, Jennifer, and a lot of you there. I can't take all the names, but it was really great. And so today, in just 1 year, in less than a year, I've become co-chair of the drafting committee and the program committee, and it was all possible because of the amazing work culture in the committees and the MSG. So thank you so much for that personally. And I'd encourage newcomers and fellows to also join MSG, to join the drafting committee. We are currently accepting volunteers and be part of this. It's going to be amazing. You're going to learn a lot, and you'll also contribute to internet governance in the region. With that, I'll move to the timeline. So we have the public input open, the first phase of it open till 3rd September. Then from 4th September till end of September, we will be having multiple meetings of the drafting committee. We will be finalizing the draft. We'll be looking at all the comments you make in the town halls and online on the comment platform. Then we'll come up with draft 1, which will be again open for public comment by the end of September. And then we plan to publish, after taking all the comments into account during the phase 2, we plan to publish it by first week of October. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Do encourage you all to be part of the drafting committee. Back to you, Inchin.
Thank you, Lakendra. This is actually Jen. And I have been on my toes refreshing the actual platform throughout the entire town hall. I'm happy to report we have 1 new comment. We are at 61. So I think I just want to reiterate what Yin-Chin said, and I'll say it like a broken record. We don't have a town hall session at the end of day 3. And in the previous years, people have said, we kind of want this. So what I want to say is, keep the platform open. There's going to be a lot of very interesting discussions, very scintillating workshop sessions tomorrow. And we need your input because this document is your document. You are the ones who are here shaping this very important output from the Asia Pacific Regional IGF. Another thing that's happening tomorrow as well is the parliamentary track. Now, parliamentary track is also very interesting for people here in APrIGF to go to. It is going to be pretty much open. I think I'm just looking at Anya to see. Yep, she's nodding. So do take the opportunity to also go there because you will be talking to lawmakers, legislators from the Asia Pacific region, and they're the ones making, legislation and regulation, and they need to be part of the conversation. We need to be part and be at the table and talk to them. So please do that. Keep the platform open. It's comment.aprigf.asia. I hope that we're going to exceed 100 comments. I don't think it's difficult. Please do, please do, please do. And do join the drafting committee. If you're interested, send the secretariat an email. It's sec@aprigf.asia. Now I'm going to pass the mic to our lovely host, Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Not apologizing for anything now. Hope the town hall has been interesting. You can come up with a few more ideas for comments at the pub. Auda is delighted to host you for a mid-APrIGF drink tonight at the charming Squire pub. It's outside the venue on the long street that goes on that side, and you can get there inside the building. So if it does start hailing on anyone's car or on any people, you will not be at risk. We've got ushers outside. You head along that way, down out of the venue, down 2 levels out of the venue onto Grey Street, and turn left into the charming Squire. To get a drink, it's in the functions room upstairs in the pub. you need your lanyard. I'll find out about that point on the first floor function room. If you do not have your lanyard, you do not get a drink. So bring your lanyard. That's all we've got. Thank you for today, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow at 9 o'clock.